All right, Mr. Mohamed Halwani, welcome to the podcast Meet the Trainer session. To begin with, tell me, how did your teaching journey start?
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Farhan, for having me today. Speaking about myself, talking about me, I think like teaching found me before I found teaching because uh, because I was just an English language program learner. When
Mm,
I felt that that's so overwhelming, I was really fascinated by the way it was an English and business and communication program, and I always wanted to be a trader. I really
mm,
love the English language. I was so stupid in the beginning because I just told myself that I'm going to learn seven languages at the same time. So imagine thinking about learning English. English was okay for me because uh, we learn English at school. But
mm.
I just told myself that I'm going to learn English, Turkish, Arabic, Farsi, French, Spanish.
Just because
But
you wanted to teach? That's why? Was that the reason?
no, I mean, I was really interested in the languages. First,
Mm,
learning a lot of languages, but I was a little naive because that was a big deal for me.
mm,
So I just told myself that I'm going to develop l- English first for the sake of being a teacher.
mm,
And I learned English in a place that avoid grammar. They are
mm,
they don't teach grammar at all. Uh, but the thing is, there are like grammar exercises in the program.
mm,
So for me, that was like in the beginning, that was a challenge. I'm not from the major. I'm going to teach a language.
mm,
So, but teaching found me when I started like teaching my friends.
mm,
They wanted me to help them. If you can give a course, give us a course, and let's see. So I started helping a lot of my friends. I thought of taking a TEFL certificate, and I thought I'm gonna be a teacher, but you ended up like having the TEFL certificate inside my room. I go with my TEFL certificate, I get back with my TEFL certificate. It didn't secure me a job. And I
mm,
waited and waited and waited until one of my friends who really believed in me, and he knew that I'm going to be a good trainer, a good teacher one day, and
mm,
he made a recommendation for me. And because I'm not from the major, it wasn't so easy to find a job with a certificate.
mm,
But uh, but I secured a job, and I started very, yeah, I took the very exciting way because I remember when I started, I did a lot of things like I studied the lesson I'm going to teach for the class. I studied the personalities of the students.
mm,
I studied the exercises. I wanted to have it so fun that I made a lot of games and a lot of activities. It gave me a very good push in the beginning. People liked me. The feedback was so positive, and then I moved to the realization that that's an academic thing. It's not a
mm,
game. You gotta take the professional academic way at the end of the day.
mm,
I I passed the CELTA, and I took the teach the IELTS, IELTS, train the trainer, IELTS training preparation.
mm,
That was like 12, 13 years ago. So now I feel like, but I still recall the memory as a vivid memory because when you
mm,
start, I think it's more exciting talking now about the starting point,
mm,
because in the beginning you don't have doubts, but you criticize yourself a lot. My English is not so good.
mm,
I
mm,
want to develop
mm,
my language. I want to be seen as someone speaking the language like native, because this kind of like Americanization of learning the language. You learn
mm,
the language for uh, a society purpose, but there's always a personalized image of yourself learning the language. So I wanted to see myself respected, seen by people that this guy can speak English. And maybe I just remember something that happened maybe 15 years ago.
mm,
I had I worked in sales, and one of the sales team was promoted to be a manager, and I asked like, why him? Why exactly him? And they said
mm,
he has very good English. So that might be, the catalyst who started
mm.
everything. That might be the reason I feel that
The
English is the.
life-changing moment
I
happened.
guess so. I
Mm,
swear that I guess that was the starting point, that I'm going to take a course, an English course. English is the lingua franca of business. English is the communicative tool for everybody to communicate. I guess that was the moment I just told myself that I'm going to learn language. I'm going to
Hmm.
focus on learning the English language before I thought of being a teacher or a trainer.
Yeah, no, you talked. I mean, thanks so very much for giving us the comprehensive explanation how it all started. Now, but I'm more curious of the transition from the learner to the teacher. This is the reason why you started learning English. But what was the transition? When was the first time when you were standing in a class or maybe delivering an online program? How was that experience? That also takes me toward another part. How was how was the experience of teaching to the friends and then to the real public, a real person who is, willing to learn the English and he's not the friend, he's totally an outsider.
Yes, absolutely. The thing is, like when I started teaching my friends, I took it very, very professional. I even like had
Mm,
to write my own lesson plans and write my own lesson objectives. So because I didn't know what training and teaching is about before TEFL, but I felt that every time I in the CELTA and TEFL, I just told myself like I used to do that myself. I used to do that myself,
mm,
and it just give you the feeling that sometime it's thinking is about is the invention, when you think
mm,
you invent creative ways of teaching. After taking the CELTA and the TEFL, things absolutely changed dramatically. When I secured the job and I started giving classes, I had to take the professional approach, and I had to follow the instructions, and it was simple to if we try to give it in a nutshell, I think the most important part of teaching is warming up, because
mm,
when you do not warm up, you do not build rapport with the students. You might feel that the student is like it's another class, it's another boring class. So
mm.
warm up is a very kind of inspiring moment of the teaching class.
So
You
what
start.
what sort of warm-up do you use in your classes, specifically when it comes to delivering online sessions?
It starts from using visuals, a picture,
Mm,
and you can talk about a picture, describing a picture. It can be something to recall from the last session, but it
mm,
should be a little engaging. It should be
mm,
fun, because I believe that education happens when it's fun. I remember that I told you last time about one of the students told me that the session is really boring and we want to change it. That was a pronunciation session. And I
mm,
feel like teaching pronunciation is engaging with my students. But I was like the traditional kind of like writing pronunciation transcript on the wall
mm,
and the white on the whiteboard, looking at them. Sometime when even when you are a teacher, you transform yourself a little bit. And they were like 12, 13 young learners, and one of them I just like heard from my back someone say like this session is boring. So I turned around and asked like, what do you think about the session? Why do you feel that it's boring? Am
mm.
I boring or the session is boring? She said that if you're continuing like that, you're boring. So she was very, very brave, and it might be an embarrassing moment,
Mm.
but I just felt that she's
That
giving
that's
me a.
that that's quite interesting. And now I want to listen to this. How did you handle this situation? How did you overcome this?
I just told myself that was like embarrassing, but she was like giving me a message that if you continue the program like that, we're not going to continue with you. And I had to like, what are you looking for? She said that that we feel happy when we play games. And I
Mm,
just told myself, why don't I do the pronunciation activities in a kind of game?
mm,
Okay. So I tried to gamify
mm,
most of the session to just uh, give them a feeling that we're going to play. They are young and they want to play. But the thing is, it works. When you think about making a quick comparison between the traditional way of teaching, and I thought I'm very confident that I'm teaching pronunciation. I'm very knowledgeable. I know I got the knowledge, and you should listen to me. You're a lecturer, but you cannot secure that you're going to be understood or not.
mm,
So I really believe in engaging in fun sessions.
mm,
Gamification and gamified based learning is absolutely should be part of the any kind of like methodology, because we are living the time of AI reels, Instagram reels. You're teaching someone different from you.
true. They have
So
more engaging content out there. They just leave the session.
yeah, I would you don't want to be called boring. So when
Yeah.
you when you understand that some of your sessions might be boring for some, we are different. What
Hmm.
works for me shouldn't be working for all people. What works for
True.
someone doesn't work for others. Some people, on the other hand, some other people at Fluency had a lot of serious,
Hmm.
very, very serious students.
How can a person in general improve English without practicing the whole book overnight, let's say?
Yes, absolutely. Because yeah, not most of the people are just like that, right? So
True.
if we're talking about the normal mainstream student, I would recommend for every learner of the language, because I'm learning French myself. And I put
Hmm.
myself in the shoe of a learner. I know how difficult is learning a language without the pronunciation of the language is hard, the grammar and stuff. But I found one daily habit that is really powerful is record yourself
Hmm.
and understand your own pace. When you record yourself, you might record yourself and think you might take it positively as I did. I feel like, wow, I speak French. I can hear myself speaking French.
Hmm.
And on the other hand, you might know the negative area, the area of improvement in your language. So when you
Hmm.
record yourself, it's a very powerful daily habit. You memorize that, because I don't want to be a reductionist, but Mr. Farhan, you know better than me that sometimes
Hmm.
language learning is about memory. You
Hmm.
have to have a good memory to remember vocabulary, you to
Hmm.
remember expressions, and to remember lots of things. So when
True.
you record yourself, you remember things, and you listen to your own self, and you know your own mistakes. I did a
Hmm.
pronunciation mistake here, I did a grammar mistake there. You become a teacher yourself with
Hmm.
the help and support of fluency sessions. That might be a very effective formula for learning the language. Learning the language doesn't take a lot of time. Learning the language takes a bit of motivation and hard work.
Hmm.
So, because one of the stories that but honestly, I've been told the story. I didn't see the story myself, but I take it from a very credible source that they had someone spoken the language from zero to hero, as they say, from zero to a native like speaker in
Hmm.
3 months of being in the military. He had nothing to do at
Hmm.
that uh, kind of military camp. So he started like listening to English, recording himself, speaking English with others, and in only 3 months. So magic can happen, but it depends. It starts with the motivation of the student,
Hmm.
readability, of readiness, of feeling like an eager want that I want to learn the language and I want to speak like you, Mr. Farhan. I want to be very, very motivating like you, Mr. Farhan. That's the
Hmm.
feeling that I had when I learned the language. I
Such informative tips and strategies. Believe me, I think so. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, if someone starts recording, listening to his own or her own self every day, we literally improve because, as they say, we learn from our own mistakes. So this is
sure.
the best opportunity to learn from one mistake. Do we have any funniest question that someone ever asked you, or any funny response that you received from a student ever, or any funny incident that happened in the class?
So one of the funniest moments that I had is I entered the wrong class. So back then we had like French classes and English classes, Spanish classes. So I
Hmm.
entered the French class. And when I entered, and it does give like everything has like a point to talk about. I entered and they gave me that feeling of being so alienated. Everything is like so blunt. They looked at me, and I feel that I'm not really welcomed. I'm really alienated. But I started doing my session, and the good thing is they started communicating, because English is a common language for students to speak. French students or even Spanish students, they started to communicate very well, and it started to get generate an interest in the topic, and we started the discussion as if the session is okay. But one of them told me that we thought that that's a prank, that our French teacher is giving us a prank. But the thing is, like it lasts for around 20 minutes
Hmm.
when the other French teacher arrived, and I knew that I was at the wrong class. I was in the wrong place, but it was a lot of fun because I also did my job. I communicated. I didn't waste their time, so they learned something. It
Hmm.
was so funny.
That's wonderful. Now let's continue toward the golden tips segment where I'm going to ask you to provide us the tips which will help everyone, of course, to improve the different aspects of English. Let's take a start with the grammar. What do you think is the best way to improve grammar?
So according to the so that's a very kind of fun part, but it's also practical because according
Hmm,
to the program that I followed 15 years ago, you should avoid grammar as much as you can in the beginning. You
hmm,
shouldn't be learning the
hmm,
rules because learning the rules makes you so knowledgeable about the rules, but it doesn't make you any practically a speaking person. It doesn't develop the skills. So, but when I'm asked about grammar, what should you do? I would say that listening is golden. I
hmm,
always, and that's something personal that doesn't relate to. I always felt that when you listen to a story with the grammar focus, so you know the grammar focus itself before doing any kind of exercise, and you listen again and again and again.
hmm,
You know, Noam Chomsky, the universal grammar theory, sometimes it works like magic. You do not have
hmm,
to set the rules, gets a lot of explanation, sharpen the rule in your head, but you should only listen, and you always feel have the feeling that this is about the past. I know that they are talking about the past. This is about the present. Yeah, that's future. That's the kind of universal thing that after listening a lot, you might you should be mimicking the
hmm,
language focus itself with some mistakes. And there is the role of a teacher to help, to correct the mistakes, to put you on
hmm.
the right path, to do exercises. So I guess listening is so, it might be not really traditional or accepted, but listening is so good when it comes to improvement of the listening skill. Sorry, of the
Sure.
grammar,
Of the
learning
grammar.
grammar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your approach is perfect because, as Allah says, that human being learn through the environment. So whatever the
Mhm,
environment we are in, automatically we learn the language. And as you said, the grammar
mhm,
rules are not very important. If we take the example of a baby who is just 2 years old,
mhm,
1 year old, did you
mhm,
learn the grammar rule in order to understand what their parents or what the parents are saying? Not at all. It's a natural way. When you keep listening, you learn
mhm,
vocabulary, you learn the
mhm,
grammar, you learn cohesive devices, you learn coherence in a natural way without even paying attention on all these things. Then you go to the school and you start from the beginning once again. What's A, what's B, what's C, and maybe like you know it already just because of the conversations of the environment. And this also justifies if you are in China, you will start speaking Chinese language without knowing the Chinese rules. If you are in Saudi Arabia, you will learn Arabic language without knowing the Arabic rules. Same as in
mhm,
English, when you are listening more by creating some artificial environment, so definitely you improve your listening, and listening is the natural way, as you said, to improve the vocabulary and everything, even
mhm,
later on it converts into speaking. I really appreciate your suggestion.
mhm.
Now, let's proceed toward the vocabulary. What's the best way, the most effective way to improve vocabulary?
Okay, so excuse me for always like thinking like a learner because when you ask the question, I try to recall myself as a learner, how stupid I was,
No, no, no. That's
and
a better approach because when you're
yeah,
teaching like a learner, that's how you are helping the learner because you are putting yourself in a learner's shoe. I think that's
mhm,
what we want. Not
mhm,
only as a teacher, because we
mhm.
always feel like teacher is standing opposite to us. So no, we want someone at our side. So when you are providing the answer from the learner's perspective, I think that's what we want. Yes.
Sure. So I started with, I remember as a learner, like writing, I had a notebook and I started writing lots of lists of vocabulary and its translation. That's the most traditional approach.
Hmm. Hmm.
It worked for me somehow. It wasn't so effective. But what I'm trying to do right now is connection. I would say like what works for me and might work for a lot of people is you try to make a connection like the memory palace. If you make
Hmm.
a connection between a picture and the word, you
Hmm.
listen to the word and you try to connect it with a picture, you try to connect it with anything. When connection happens, the wiring system of memory started to be activated.
Hmm.
So one easy simple habit is you can, because you might be like, how can I do like a memory palace? Because memory palace can be done, by the way, it can be done at your room. But at least if you're using this kind of like memory palace technique, you have to have some colors. Use your own notebook to the simple way, and you start drawing things, because when you
Hmm.
draw something about the vocabulary and this kind of like funny sarcastic drawing, you will never forget the drawing, but you will never forget the word that you connected to it as well. So learning new vocabulary is a challenging, especially with like hard pronunciation, but you can connect it to very memorable easy things like drawing,
Hmm.
connecting that with a very exaggerated memory of your own, at even at the comfort of your own room.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about speaking. How can someone improve speaking?
Uh,
And to be
okay, from
fluent,
a from a marketing point of view, that would be like join Fluency. Like we
we have
secure.
fluency, yes.
Yes, because
Right.
really, Fluency is one of the best places when it comes to
Indeed.
comfort, flexibility, and customized plans according to your own business of
Hmm.
life.
Which is quite
But
unique in the market indeed. Hmm.
sure,
Hmm.
it's very easy. After the coronavirus, a lot of people understood that we can
Hmm.
learn English and we can even do our jobs online, and things are very effective. So
Hmm.
when it comes to speaking, like you can start the program, because you might ask, like, what about the program? Okay, because people are not motivated. And as you said, your example, Mr. Farhan, that traveling to Italy secure that you're going to speak Italian one day,
Hmm.
going to Australia, sorry, going to China or going to Australia, you speak Australian accent English, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So the thing is, join the program. So you already like secured, let's say not a teacher, you have a partner that going to
Hmm.
help you like build, because we build blocks for learners to build their own path to learning. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's the very beginning. Recording yourself is one good thing for speaking, by the way, because you're practicing speaking skill, and you're recording your own mistakes. You can get back. And one of the thing is like, might be crazy when I tell you like sometimes you have to speak to yourself.
Hmm.
You take a very simple session at Fluency, and there was a story, and you remember you call some of the expressions. You can just tell it to yourself again and again and again, as if you're speaking to yourself.
Hmm. I have two questions now. The first one is
Sure.
the general perspective that people have nowadays is like they have AI, they have the YouTube where they can watch a 3 hour video, how to improve speaking or something. Why to take a course? That's the first thing. Secondly, what different do we do in fluency in order to help people improve their language?
Okay. So we are, as you're saying, that we're living a very completely different world today because of the AI and the movement of AI.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I wouldn't be thinking about AI replacing teachers or replacing program, for the
Hmm.
reason that human interaction is golden. Human interaction
Hmm.
is the thing that most of the people that are joining programs are not joining to learn and only learn.
Hmm.
Learning is not the first thing. They want to make the connection that I have someone can support me in this learning path, and by this kind of support they get confidence. So learning is not only about language itself in a reductionist
It's
sense,
about living it. Hmm.
it's about living it. And AI doesn't secure that. It doesn't guarantee that you
Hmm.
have this kind of like human. I, I wouldn't be like, if I'm trained by an AI robot or something, I wouldn't be feeling so confident that I'm going to pass the interview because I did my part with the AI. But teachers can tell you, like, okay, Halwani, you're done. You can go to the interview. And yeah, I trust you because you're a human being. So I feel that it programs are like these programs that we do at Fluency will never be replaced.
Hmm. After listening to you, I was able to remember one joke that I heard once quite in my childhood, that a person was really afraid of speaking in front of the public. So one of his friends suggested, and he was supposed to deliver the speeches, the public speeches. So one of his friend took him to the fields where the flowers were there. So he said, "Okay, just deliver a speech to these flowers and consider these flowers are the humans." He delivered a very confident speech in front of the flowers in the field. And then he said, "I'm ready. Take me in front of public." When he went to
Yes,
the public, he said, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, Flowers can't replace humans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so it's kind of the same experience when you're talking to the robot.
Sure.
Robot can't replace the human being. That's true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sure. That's the core message of it, because
Hmm.
yes, we are not alhamdulillah, thanks to God, that we are not replaceable, because that's our job, it
Hmm.
started with that's m- the job of prophets, for
Hmm.
influencers, for people, for a lot of people. And I feel like learning language can open the gates to a lot of fulfillment of dreams.
Hmm.
uh, so it has a value,
Yeah,
this
true.
job has a real value.
And I think this AI is a good support. It's not here to replace, actually. It's here to enhance the experience and to make it smoother for the learners and for the teachers and
Mhm.
all. All right. Now, how can we improve pronunciation? We understand accents. Accents are different. Accents, I heard that after every 10 kilometers, the accent changes. That's okay. But how about the
Mhm.
pronunciation? How can someone be confident that whatever he is pronouncing, that's correct?
Okay, so it's a challenging question, and I'm trying to think about my own way of developing my pronunciation. And because I would tell you, I would give an example in Egypt of people listening to movies. Okay, and
Hmm.
listen, sorry, yeah, watching movies. And watching movies is a very good example of mimicking kind of pronunciation, and it does develop. But it
Hmm.
doesn't work, as we said, that it shouldn't be working for all people. Some people would find it so difficult to watch a movie. And in Saudi Arabia, people are really inspired to speak the English language, British English or American English. So once they're kind of like accent, that's a motivation for someone to know, to realize that there is a way of speaking it this way. So lots of sources might be followed, like Youglish, that does gives you
Hmm.
a lot of YouTube links for you
Hmm.
to know the right pronunciation of the word, and
Hmm.
give you example in British English, American English, and Australian English. So Youglish is an amazing one. And listening to songs, it didn't work for me the whole my whole life. I've never felt like listening to music or reading lyrics. It didn't work for me, but it worked for a lot of people, and it
Hmm.
does, to be honest, because I'm talking about practical things.
Hmm.
It does change the way they speak. Watching movies, reading the lyrics of a song, and listening to that kind of music. English is one way, and at the end of the day, speaking with native speakers, that where Fluency comes in, because we have a lot of wonderful native teachers at Fluency. And I'm telling you, like speaking with someone as we are talking to each other now, Mr. Farhan, can magically does a lot of things. One of them is also pronunciation.
True. Well, when it comes to the pronunciation, there are no rules for pronunciation. Then there is writing where there are no rules for spellings, and people really struggle with the spelling mistakes. So, these mistakes they make. How can someone improve the spellings?
Okay, that's a good question, because that's one of the criteria of writing in
Hmm.
IELTS. So
Yeah.
IELTS is not only about grammar and vocabulary, but it's also about spelling.
Hmm.
Okay, and I would also say that we have some kind of like a visual memory of the
Hmm.
words,
Great.
because spelling can be done while texting and the mobile phone, correct. And it does happen when we write by a paper and a pen. Okay, but it also can be seen like a flashcard decks with
Hmm.
the spelling itself. Colors, I would say, like the golden thing is also colors. So when you are challenged by some hard words, and you feel that you have a problem with your writing mistakes, so go to any application or go to any AI tool that does give you kind of like flashcards with
Hmm.
colors with these words, because they are going to be carved in your brain
In your
memory,
mind. Hmm.
in your mind. And when you can recall it by colors, it wouldn't be like you shouldn't be doing mistake.
Hmm. Great. Now let's proceed toward the next segment, and you have to select this or that. I'm going to give you two options. You just
All
have
right.
to just select whatever comes in your mind. Books or podcasts?
Books.
Reading silently or reading aloud?
Reading silently.
Big class or small class?
Small class.
Quiet classroom or energetic classroom?
Energetic classroom for sure.
Whiteboard or digital board? Digital
Digital
screen?
digital screen.
Coffee before class or after class?
Coffee before and after class.
Okay, dictionary or Google?
Google.
Notebook or notes app?
Notebook.
Learn alone or learn with friends?
Learn with a lot of friends for sure.
Wonderful. Now, I'm going to give you the first part of the sentence. In this segment, you have to complete the sentence. I'm going to give you
Okay,
the first part of the sentence and you have to complete it. I
sure.
knew I wanted to teach when.
I knew when I looked at my friends at class and saw how overwhelmed, mesmerized, and fascinated by speaking the new language.
Great. My students always surprise me by.
Uh, Gifts, like little gifts, like chocolate and stuff.
Learning becomes exciting when.
When it's fun, when there are like games.
Hmm. The classroom feels magical when.
When there are like authentic ideas being discussed in class.
The best compliment I have ever received is.
Students getting their band score after the IELTS examination, that's the best compliment I can get.
If I could tell my younger self one thing, that would be.
Um, you should start by simple things first, and you shouldn't be over overacting things. You should be like, you know, consistency, daily
Hmm.
habits is better than having lots of things in your mind.
Hmm. Great. Success doesn't happen because
Because you don't want to open the door and start walking to that toward that success
Hmm.
story.
every learner should remember
Every learner should remember. Should remember. I wanted to say like should remember the
fluency.
vocabulary. Yeah, the vocabulary of the lesson.
Yeah. I wish students knew.
Uh, that I was ready. I guess I was ready for that.
Hmm. I smile every time.
I smile every time I feel my student is connected to me in the
Hmm.
session.
Great. Now, proceeding further, now you are going to become a 1 minute teacher in which I'm going to give you different topics. You can select any one of these topics and you have to deliver a 1 minute lesson to all of us. The topics could be any pronunciation trick, vocabulary trick, confidence trick, memory trick, reading trick. So pronunciation, vocabulary, confidence, memory, reading. You can select any one of these topic and I'm going to give you 1 minute timer. Just like you're
Okay.
given 1 minute timer in the IELTS,
All
we're
right.
quite strict with the timing. And now, what topic have you selected?
Okay. I would say I would talk about a grammar point of view. Okay.
Wonderful. Your 1 minute timer starts now.
So today we're going to talk about the present perfect. And the present perfect is a challenging kind of grammar focus because people use past simple like I did yesterday, I went to school yesterday, I had I talked to some of my friends, but present perfect is a kind of like challenging for people because they do not understand the focus of present perfect. Present perfect is about something that started in the past, but it still has an effect in the present. Like, let's say, God forbid that one is dead, okay? One is dead. So that's it, done, completed. It shouldn't be present perfect. So we say like he passed away, he lived a wonderful life, and that was it. But present perfect is like he has been to France, he has been to America, and he's still there in France and America. We can say that Ahmed has been to America, Ahmed has been to France because he went there and it's still there. So it still has an ongoing effect on using this grammar focus. Present perfect is much more important than past simple, because past simple is about stories completed, specific things that has been that is done. So to be correct, that was done. Okay. But present perfect is about connecting the past to the
Hmm.
present.
Wonderful.
So
Well, Mr. Mohamed Halwani, it was an impeccable, full of energy, really an informative session. I really, really appreciate you for your time.
thank you so much. That was so nice of you. I got the pleasure, and I really felt so happy talking to you today, Mr. Farhan. And you
Likewise,
have a
sir.
good day. You have a good day. Thank you
Likewise,
so
sir. Thank
much.
you so much for your time. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye bye.
You're welcome.